Hi, folks. I'm Chris Dorr. I'm the director here for Tennessee Gun Owners, and I wanted to shoot this short video and talk with you about the Republican nominee in your state House of Representatives race, right there in House District 97. A lot of people have been asking us to give them the straight facts about John Gillespie and his voting record and his support for gun control in comparison to the Democrat, who I'm not even going to have to talk about in this election. A lot of people have asked us. They said, can you guys shed some light on Gillespie's gun control record? So I'm here to do exactly that in this video. We're going to be talking about John Gillespie and his support for radical gun control. You can tell a lot about a person in life, really, by who they're friends with or who their friends are. You can definitely tell that that's true with politicians and who they vote with, for example. So the first thing we're going to talk about with John Gillespie here is his sponsoring of Michael Bloomberg's gun control legislation, and particularly his support and sponsorship of red flag gun confiscation. Red flag laws are the destruction of due process rights for gun owners. What they do is they allow anybody to petition a judge to have your guns taken away from you without you ever being charged, tried, or convicted of a crime. And particularly, they are weaponized in the states that have passed this awful stuff. They are weaponized in divorce courts and child custody courts by people who are looking to gin up support for their child custody case, for example. They think to themselves, if they can simply get the person, their previous ex, if they can get them red flagged, that's a gun charge that goes on their record that can be used against them in other court proceedings. Terrible, terrible stuff. John Gillespie is the sponsor of that bill. He didn't just jump on it as a co-sponsor with a Democrat. He sponsored that bill for Michael Bloomberg's gun control organizations as a Republican state representative in Nashville. That is absolutely atrocious. And here's another reason why. When the fake news media and the radical left are trying to gin up support to pass this stuff, after the Nashville school shooting in 2023, they love to be able to say that this gun control has bipartisan support. Now, in a Republican supermajority, when John Gillespie steps up and delivers that gimme to the radical left, it's an absolute stab to gun owners. It's a stab in the back to everything that they hold dear. John Gillespie did exactly that when he sponsored Michael Bloomberg's red flag gun control agenda. So that's number one. I'm going to give him a great big red X on that. He also, when pro-gun legislation gets to the floor of the Tennessee General Assembly, the radical left loves to point out bipartisan opposition to that as well. So one of the biggest gun rights bills that got on the floor and ultimately passed in recent memory is called constitutional carry. It's a beautiful piece of pro-gun legislation, but John Gillespie voted no on it. He broke ranks with the Republican caucus, joined the Democrats, and voted no on constitutional carry. Constitutional carry just gets government out of the rights regulation business. It says that if you're a law-abiding citizen and a peaceful citizen, that you can carry a firearm for self-defense without begging the government for permission to do so. It's right in line with what the founding fathers said when they acknowledged that these are inalienable rights endowed on us by our Creator. They're not endowed on us by our government. For John Gillespie to go out and vote no, again, he was giving the fake news media and the Democrats the talking point to go out there and attack the Second Amendment and say that this constitutional carry bill had bipartisan opposition. No, it just had opposition from every anti-gun gun control activist, and that would include John Gillespie. He voted no on teacher carry. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, we don't want every teacher going out there and getting whatever. Okay, people can have their opinions on that. The fact is, this bill would have made it so that qualified, trained, and instructed teachers and other school personnel would be able to carry firearms. He voted no on that stuff. He voted no. And again, he gave the left the opportunity to say that it had bipartisan opposition. Same with voting on, and I have the bills for this. This one, the constitutional carry bill, this one right here. That was Senate Bill 765. The teacher carry one is Senate Bill 1325. And this one here voted no for that one. That was Senate Bill or House Bill 1735. What this bill did would make it legal for 18 to 20-year-olds, people who are able to get married, pay taxes, go off to war, would have restored the ability for them to purchase firearms. Okay. John Gillespie voted no on that. Again, in all three of these instances, he broke ranks with the Republican caucus. These bills passed, by the way. He broke ranks with the Republican caucus, voted with the Democrats, and gave them the talking point that they were looking for. That is an absolute shame for him to have done that. And to this very moment, John Gillespie has never apologized to the gun owners in House District 97. And he should. He absolutely should. He owes that to them. I mean, you want to get way into the nuts and bolts on this. The amount of money that the Republican caucus has to spend to get this scoundrel elected is absolutely preposterous. In comparison to most House races, it's oftentimes 3, 4, 5 times the amount of money. And what's worse, and this is probably the worst offense that John Gillespie has committed here, what's worse is that he actively works within the Republican caucus to prevent pro-gun legislation from coming to the floor for a vote because he doesn't want it to endanger his chances to get reelected. In other words, John Gillespie is just fine with the rest of the state being punished by not getting pro-gun bills across the finish line if it makes it easier for his carcass to get reelected. That's John Gillespie. So if you're sitting there asking yourself this question, well, isn't it better that we have John Gillespie than an openly anti-gun Democrat? Well, first of all, you're going to get the same votes out of both candidates. So that choice is yours to make. Number two, the radical left wouldn't be able to say, the fake news media would no longer be able to say that these pro-gun bills have bipartisan support. And number three, much better pro-gun legislation will likely get to the House floor for votes because the caucus won't ever have to worry about worthless John Gillespie and his ridiculous support for gun control anymore if the gun rights bills get to the floor of the House. So if you're a gun owner and a gun voter and a pro-freedom, pro-America voter trying to figure out who the heck do you vote for in this House District 97 election, I wanted you guys to have this information so that you guys can make your own decisions about who you want representing you. Is it better to have somebody who is an open enemy and attacks you from the front, or is it better to have an enemy that is behind your lines? That's the question here. That's the question gun voters in House District 97 has to ask themselves when it comes to John Gillespie. So, folks, I wanted you to have this information. You guys can make your own choices from here, but on November 5th, go vote pro-gun.